like during the pandemic, people who observed lockdowns and went and got their COVID vaccines were one group of voters. And then people who didn't were another group of voters altogether. And they targeted those people. So there's new information out today that showed that the information from your cell phone showed politicians whether or not you were breaking quarantine, driving around your city when you weren't supposed to, according to their rules or perceptions, and they targeted you. Politicians then took this information from a company called PredictWise. They used your phone and they assigned users a COVID-19 decree violation. So they basically ranked them. Did you get your booster? Did you stay home? Did you do the things you were supposed to like a good girl? Well, then you got a good decree violation score. But if you were moving around, not just going to the grocery store, but maybe thinking of going to the movies or something, then you were assigned a higher sort of deviance score.
This is unbelievable. And PredictWise, I mean, this is so we knew all about in the 2016 election. We knew all about the different Facebook groups and so forth that were doing all the data harvesting and everything. But they were using COVID to target for elections. So PredictWise says that Arizona Senator Mark Kelly was able to use this data, according to Reclaim the Net, to target 40,000 persuasion targets that they would not have otherwise. That means voters. They specifically then targeted those people because of this COVID data about you having the vaccine or otherwise and your movements.
Well, they said that this was especially pivotal in swing states such as Ohio, and then they could ask survey questions so that they could see which Republicans were absolutely not going to quarantine, not going to give up my freedoms, not going to get a vaccine. Okay, this is one group. We need to go after them to get them to do, because it showed sort of behavioral changes. They, readily said what were some of the things that they used to look at. It said unregistered voters. PredictWise database includes verified data on 50 million plus unregistered voters sourced through credit files and portal registration data such as Crate and Barrel. So if you're like shopping on Target or Crate and Barrel or something like that, and you keep a high credit, you don't pay off your balance or whatever, you're one kind of person versus the kind of person who doesn't keep a balance, has no interest. They also, sort of juxtapose this with mobile data and location data through your mobile phone devices. It's sort of like this convergence of who are you, where are you going, and that tells us how to talk to you in order to convince you to do whatever it is.
Well, we heard about this too at the WEF, right? This is all part of their plan for tracking. We heard about the carbon tracking, the carbon footprint tracking, the vaccine passport tracking, all of that. It's all part of this plan. Here is their white paper. Here's the white paper from PredictWise. I have it here on my laptop, which is data individualized to the voter. We deliver the right message to the right voter. So you take our data and we'll send it to the right voter that you're looking for. Customized audiences. We can target the most potent voters that need to hear from you.
Well, if you scroll all the way down to that page, who are the parties that are using this data? Who thinks this is more acceptable to use? And who does it work in their favor? Democrats. You see those, they're all Democratic associations.
South Carolina Democratic Party, the Democratic National Committee, the Ohio Democratic Party, Target Smart, voter
I don't see the Russian Federation on there.
Yeah, I don't see that on here. I don't see Putin's Communist Party on here.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, they thought that was totally okay to take your sourced mobile geolocation and decide how to talk to you because they thought,
Well, this is what Edward Snowden talked about, right? That even if it doesn't matter. I mean, and Android phones, right? Google, right? Run by Google. So I think arguably, the data, Edward Snowden was talking about that it's much more prolific. Like you have much more access on one of those devices than you do on iPhone. But iPhone's arguably just as bad because if you're logged into any of those apps, and he said even if you turn off the phone it's still pinging cell phone towers.
Yes.
Still accessing cell phone data. It doesn't matter. All of these apps that you have installed, so if you're logged into Google or you're logged into Facebook or any full-on data that's being shared and then sold. And God knows it's going to companies like this. And so they know exactly what you're doing, where you're going. And then no wonder you're getting targeted advertising, and much worse. This is why we talked about the IRS, government having all of this access, the move towards a digital ID. So you will have no anonymity. Mm-hmm. They will control all of it, and you will like it. They'll tell you what to do. They'll tell you where to go. They will shut down your phone if you've traveled too many times to the mall. Mm-hmm. During a pandemic. Oh no, Natalie, her carbon tracking is up. She's traveled too much this week. So sorry, you're going to have to stay home. It sounds like a science fiction movie. Or ride your bike. Right? Yeah, ride your bike.
So well, then people are saying it's so easy, just remove the battery from your phone. But you tell me a phone these days that you could actually remove the battery from. How would I remove the battery from this phone? You can't anymore. Like the old phones, yes. New phones, you can't. You'd have to be a technician.
Yeah. I mean, I have another way. You could leave your phone at home. Can any of us go to the mall without our phones, or go somewhere without our phones?
I mean, look, you have to take great steps to do that. So. There's a new mode on the new iPhone. What is it called? It's for journalists. It's called it's basically like to remove the deep state from your phone. I forget the name of it. But like Glenn Greenwald was talking about it, Edward Snowden, so it limits the functionality of your iPhone, but it puts it into like a journalistic, if you're being tracked by deep states or the state actors. So this is a new feature for privacy. It turns off like a lot of features, but at least it keeps you from, getting
What if
tracked.
we put it in a lead bag and then it can't?
Put it in a lead bag and then put it in your microwave.
That might work.
Put it in a mirror-lined box.
No, microwaving only charges it.
Yeah.
So my question about this though is how is this different? How is this whole thing different, like the COVID tracking that they're doing on this app? How is that different from Cambridge Analytica, which caused such a big stir in the last election, and people got in trouble for doing that? Wasn't that exactly what they were doing, was tracking people's habits on Facebook and then using that to target voters specifically?
Yes.
Yeah, and Cambridge Analytica, took a number of steps even further than that, because they were doing... I forget exactly, and I don't want to say something out of turn, but they were doing some pretty nefarious things as well on top of the data that was readily available to them from Facebook. They were going above that. I've actually talked to a big data company who said, yeah, we were basically their competitor, and we were the good guys and didn't do the stuff that they were doing. So I don't know exactly. It's way above my pay grade, but it was some bad stuff. They had made a whole movie about it. What was the movie called? It was really, really good.
The Benedict Cumberbatch
was
movie?
Benedict Cumberbatch in it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It was really good about what happened with Brexit and the whole thing.